Hey guys, so this week I'm playing yet another game which a lot of people didn't pick up last year, and that game of course is Alan Wake. It's this weird sort of third-person shooter where you use weapons, but you also use light as your weapon. You got a little flashlight that you shine, or flares, or flashbangs, or all kinds of different light to fight the darkness, and that's kind of this weird sort of thing where you're fighting but with light and stuff, and it's strange, but it works. It's got this weird sort of narrative style, but is it any good? Well, here's my opinion of Alan Wake.
In Alan Wake, well, obviously you play Alan Wake, who is a successful writer who goes off to this mountain retreat to sort of recoup and maybe come up with some ideas for a new book. Now, if that was all you were going to do in the game, it would be a pretty boring game. Thankfully, though, that's not all you do. Alan's wife is kidnapped by this dark presence, and he wakes up a week later with no memory of what happened. Apparently, in this week he doesn't remember, he wrote a horror novel, and now it's all coming true. As you run around the world, you can pick up these manuscript pages of this novel that you wrote to glean some insight into what's going to happen. And also, Alan Wake's sort of inner monologue narrates the game for you. The game does its best to sort of express this sort of narrative style of a book in video game form. As you walk around, you get the narrative and you get to see what the character is doing and the reason behind it. I had to get up, but it was hard waking up this early. It was only 11:30 in the morning. Far too early. Dental hygiene has always been a major part of my life, so I made sure to brush thoroughly. But the most important part of my morning routine is always exercise. It really gets me in the right mood for all that hard work I have ahead of me. In terms of gameplay, it is a third-person shooter. You run around and you shoot things. But strangely enough, you can't just pick up the pistol and shoot the bad guy and watch him die. The enemies in this game are actually cloaked in shadow, so you have to use a light source like a flashlight or a flare to sort of knock the shadow off them, and then you can kill them. This is the concept that really defines this game. Everything about this game is light and shadow. You use the light to hurt the enemies, and then you use the light to heal yourself. It's really the main theme of this game. Beyond just being like an artsy-fartsy, fancy, high-concept idea, it actually is a really fun mechanic. It allows the game to be like dark and shadowy and hard to see, but in a good way, in a way that it doesn't feel like somebody just needs to turn up the gamma. As the game progresses, they introduce obviously more enemies. Faster bad guys, stronger bad guys, birds, bulldozers. Trust me, watch out for those. And the game also gets stranger and stranger as you go along. As the dark presence starts to take over reality more and more, reality gets twisted and turned upside down in all kinds of strange ways. Overall, I have to say, Alan Wake is an incredibly unique game. It uses a lot of really weird gameplay mechanics, but in a really fun way, and it does a great job at telling this very linear but satisfying narrative. So much about its design and sort of gameplay choices are really unique and interesting that it makes me wonder why more people didn't pick up this game.
And there you have it, Alan Wake, really good. I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed this game. As a shooter, it works out really well. It does some really original type things, and for some reason, not a lot of people picked it up. Some people, maybe enough to get a sequel. I mean, the game just, it's really cool. It gets like weirder and weirder as you progress, and the downloadable content is even weirder. And it just continues the whole narrative, and it leaves it open, and for like a sequel, but not so much like it's a giant cliffhanger. But it feels like a very satisfying ending, especially when you get through all the DLC. But it's a good game. I don't understand why more people didn't pick it up, but go now. You probably get it for pretty cheap right now. Go.